Hello everyone. Hope the sound's recording okay. And this is a tutorial for getting a character into 3D printing. And the first part, we're gonna go over UVs. So I got this little guy, and I'll post a link to when he's available for purchase. And for right now, I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks. And for 3D printing, we're gonna print him out in color. So we're gonna want all his UVs on a single texture map, so that's what we're going to be going over. So first couple quick tips is quickly getting UVs, because these characters, this guy's remeshed, these are not done for animation, so cleaner topology is always the best, but it doesn't have to be rigged, so we don't have to worry too much about perfect edge loops. And he is already UV'd, so I'm just going to duplicate him just to show you. Duplicate. Oops. Delete that. I'm going to clone him. Clone the body. He's in different pieces just for speed purposes. I'm going to go to, let's see, clone. I'm going to delete higher so we can see the layout. And then I'm going to go to UV master over here and flatten. So you can see that he's already UV'd, but this particular piece is UV'd and it takes up the entire one-to-one space. What we're going to be going over is getting everything, all these pieces together. You upside down. Is getting all these pieces together on one texture map with one UV space, so it uses one map. So we'll be uploading the STL and the texture map to be 3D printed. So I'm going to delete this on fly and work on another part. So the first thing I'm going to show you is what I did for each piece. I'm going to go over a simple part real quick. Let's see. I'm trying to think of the best guy to go over. So let's do the ears. So I'm going to clone the ears, and again, all these parts are already redone. I'm going to get rid of that extra piece. Okay, so I'm going to clone this guy. And so this is the process I went through every piece after sculpting. So here you can see the edge loops. What I'm going to actually do is start fresh and just Dynamesh it. There we go. So now it is Dynameshed, and the edge loops are gone and the UVs are gone. So now I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to turn the bottom part off. So this is what we're going to be projecting later on in a couple minutes. So now I have this piece. I'm going to turn on solo as well. There, I can turn that back on, leave it on solo. I'm going to turn off the color. So what we want to do is pick where our edge loops are, and the edge loops don't have to be perfect. Again, this is not for animation, this is for 3D printing. And as you can see, the colors on this guy are pretty similar, so we don't have to worry too much about seams. We just want them to be clean, they don't have to be perfect. So I probably want a seam here, and then you're going to see the front of the ears, so probably put a seam back here. So what I'm going to do is go to slice curve, and I'm going to cut here on the bottom. Turn polyframe on. Yep, so there it is, it's cut. Go mirror and weld. Turn the solo back on. So when you're slicing, the slices don't mirror. So you just pick usually do on the left side, and that way you just do mirror and weld on the x-axis, and it'll mirror any changes you make will mirror over. So now I'm going to isolate this piece, and I'm going to make a slice, say like right here. And oh, see, you got that little piece there. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is click this. That happens sometimes. I'm going to click auto group. So I have that set up as hotkeys, but that's under polygroups, auto group, and that'll group any isolated island of geometry. And now we can isolate those two pieces. Control. Now I did group by. Sorry, I have everything under hotkeys. I forgot their defaults. I believe that's merge mask called W. So now we have, I'm going to do mirror and weld. Now we have this group, and this group. So again, we need a clean topology, not perfect, but clean. So we're going to go to, let's see, geometry. So we're going to ZBrush it, and we're going to make sure that we turn keep groups on. It was already on. So I'm going to click it back on and target polygroups. I believe 1500 comes out to 3000 tries. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Have symmetry on and click ZBrush. Let ZBrush do its magic. So yeah, I believe it was around 2012 or 2013 the Dynamesh and ZBrush came out back to back, so I'm not too up to date on the new tools, but those were still kind of the biggest game changers for me as far as getting models done quickly for production. So now we have clean UV shells. So we want to get the UVs laid out. So I'm going to turn off symmetry because we're going to be laying them out later on anyways. Make sure polygroups is on, because that's what we just did to determine the UV shells. And click unwrap so we can check the seams. It'll highlight them so the seams are good. Flatten. There you go. So that's what we want. Unflatten. Now we want to project the detail and color of the original sculpt. So this is on solo. They're both visible. I like to keep it on solo so you can see a projection of what's actually happening. I'll turn on. Let's get some basic material to, no, just basic material. There we go. So I'm going to hit Control D, duplicate, and then it's under Subtool, project, project all. And you got to make sure that it's clean. If it's not, you can smooth it out and reproject. It looks good. I'm going to Control D to duplicate it, and that's under, when I'm hitting Control D, I'm just upping the geometry resolution. So that's divide, Control D. What's the actual term? Subdivide mesh, Control D. So I'm going to go to Subtool, project all, Control D, project all. Now we have 3 levels, we want 4 levels, and I'll show you why in a second. And project all. So that's a quick overview of what I've done for all the sculpted parts. Get back to our skin shader. Much cuter. So, and that's what I did for each part. So, say for the tongue, let's check it out. Solo, polyframe. So you can see, again, usually if this character is going to be rigged, I'll model it better. But this I just ZBrush real quick. Made a slice. This I don't even think I sliced it. I think I just selected the geometry. And you see the seam on the tail. So something like this, usually I'll want to just pick an end that you don't see, cut a circle hole, and the other one I'll just cut in half with a slice tool. So I just sliced it down there, unwrapped it. Okay, now for merging. So we want all these to be one subtool now, so we can get the UVs on a single texture map. So first of all, we need to make sure that their subdivisions match. So I take this down to 1. That way when we merge them, they'll all go to the lower subdivision level at the same time. And another big thing, which I often forget, and then you have to open up the previous file because you can't undo it, is to make sure that merge UVs is set for every piece. So many times I forget to do that. So if you're gonna listen to one thing that I tell you if you're watching this, is just make sure that UV is on under merge, because if not, those UVs are gone, donezo. So I'm actually gonna go through and check and make sure all the subdivisions match. So if I go down and make sure they're all at level 4, and it doesn't matter if they're at level 2, 3, 4, 5, just as long as they match. So say I'm going to go down, and then actually I'm just going to delete the upper level to show you what it would look like. So I'm going to go delete higher. So if I was checking these, I'd see up here, subdivision level 4, and those are actually under, I set that up custom, so they're under geometry subdivision level. But we're going to look up here for now. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then it'd be, oops, 3. So then I'd hit Control D to make sure it matches the rest. 4. Okay, so they all match. They all have UV set. So I'm going to save the file. Save as. I'm going to do 28 pre-merge. Click Save. Okay, so now everything should merge because everything's Z-remeshed. Sometimes if you have triangles in your geometry, some funny things can happen even if the subdivision levels match, but since everything I believe had gone through Z-remesher, they should merge and maintain their subdivision levels. So let's cross our fingers and hit merge down, click OK. Yep, and you can see that it calculated and maintained the subdivision levels. Merge down, full reconstruction, merge down. That's what we want. Full reconstruction. Alright, merge down, merge down. Sorry for my repetitive monotone voice. Merge down, just trying to keep talking. Merge down. Alright, we're getting close to the last one. It's the worst when it fails on the last one, then you gotta start over, but we'll see. Alright, so it looks like we have the character with full reconstruction enabled. So just to test out, I'm gonna hit Shift D. So Control D is subdivide, Shift D is to lower subdivision level, D is to go up, Shift D is to go down, so you can see it working. D, Shift D. So we have all the pieces merged. So now I'm actually going to duplicate this. I'm going to go up to the highest subdivision level, just so we don't confuse the two pieces. I'm going to duplicate it. Shift D to go down to the first subdivision level. I'm going to hit solo, and I'm going to delete higher, and I'm going to flatten it. Now when I flatten it, don't get scared at this point because we haven't laid everything out yet. I'm just doing this to make sure that the UVs are actually still there. make sure they didn't disappear, and you can actually do that by hitting texture map, create. So just the fact that it's letting us create one means that it has UVs. You can see everything's all crazy, but that's alright. And I'm actually going to do flatten. So you can see the shells are all there. Oops, don't do that. Unflatten. You could also do check seams. So all the seams are there. Okay. Subtool, and turn the bottom off. Turn check seams off. So now what we need to do is get this into our third-party modeling program. I tried to make that sound superficial, but what I mean is just send it to 3ds Max or Maya or Blender or whatever you're using. So I use GoZ, and I'm actually going to rename this just so GoZ is very name oriented, so even though these are different names, I try to make them significantly different just so there's no confusion. Sometimes I don't trust these programs. Alright, so I'm going to name it Fox GoZ Go. GoZ Go. They should rename GoZ to GoZ Go. Alright. I need to stop talking. So I'm going to hit, and I believe I have 3ds Max open. I do not. Let's see. So I'm going to hit GoZ, and then we're going to wait. Because I do not know how to pause and restart screen capture yet. Let's see. Oh, there's pause. Alright, I'm going to pause it. Okay. So I hit unpause, and I hope I didn't lose my video. Alright. So 3ds Max is now open. Now we have the character. We have Fox GoZ Go. And I'm going to hit, let's see, where's GoZ? There it is. Alright, GoZ. Sometimes I hit these by accident, and they're useful in some occasions, but right now we just want to send the selected subtool, so I'm just going to hit the GoZ. And let's see if he got over there. Yep, he did. Alt W, get the screen open. Now there he is. Now another big thing, not a big thing, a little thing, is that if you have a custom texture on the character, GoZ won't send it back. The default texture it might, but just for safety's sake, I'm going to put general, I'm just going to put a new material on there. Oh, that's what it is. Sometimes I try to send it back with the UV texture on it, and then it doesn't allow it. Let's see, which we actually need right now. So I'm going to go to diffuse. I hope I have it on my very messy desktop. Let's see, look for the colorful one. There we go. I hit the show shaded material, and usually I'll set double click on the bitmap icon. I usually set the tile to like 4. It usually gives us a clear look. Let's see, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Oh, these are the references that I used while sculpting. Is a quick sculpt. Just trying to get back in the swing of things. So I use PureRef. Let's see, it doesn't even show the icon. Oh, here's the icon right here. So PureRef is a software that I use for gathering reference images, and it definitely, like when you're starting off in a project, it probably saves me like an hour right off the bat just getting images sorted together and ready to go to start sculpting. So I highly recommend that. So it's the second good piece of advice I have to offer you tonight. It's like midnight. It's like 1. It's way past my bedtime. Alright. So So I'm going to go to, so for 3D printing, the UVs don't have to be perfect. We're not generating normal maps or anything. So I'm going to open up, first I'm going to convert it to an editable poly. I'm going to go to unwrap. Unwrap UVW, open UV editor. So now we want the squares to be even, and we want them laid out, touching, and do not, if you let a vertice go out of the 1-1 space, say that's like that, ZBrush will not forgive you. So just don't do that. This is a big headache to go back and fix it. Yeah, it'll just take the pixels that are out there and it'll just shoot them across the board. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to select everything, go to face shell mode, and I'm going to click pack custom. So this is not ideal, but it took 3 seconds and everything's laid out, and just for all intensive purposes of the tutorial and me wanting to just eat food and go to sleep, I'm going to show you how I would lay it out. So also I want to save some UV space because I might add some extra parts to it, some accessories to the Go Fox Go, or Fox Go Z Go. So what I'm going to do is shrink it down a little bit and just move things around. So let's see, I might want more of a square space available if I add stuff. So I'm going to get these out of the way. Now, if this was for production, I'd have all the squares absolutely perfectly even. Oh, and things like the eyes. So I'm going to turn, let's see, I'm going to turn on select element. So the eyes, we'd want the fronts to be large, even though these eyes aren't detailed in the backs, you're not going to see at all. So these we could just shrink down and get them out of the way. Usually I'll make a pile. I'll make like a pile over here, optimize everything, and then just fit these in open spaces. But again, we're doing this quick. So these we can jack up a little bit in size. These we can move out of the way. So now we have some open space here, here. So again, this tutorial is not about laying out UVs perfectly. It's about getting them laid out so we could get this 3D printed, back into ZBrush and 3D printed. Looks like we got a little piece, so that's okay. But again, if you want to optimize it, say the ears, you'd want them all, you know, perfect, going the same way. You could rotate them, get them like that and all perfect, but for now we're going to leave it. And I'm actually going to scale this up, so I'm just going to move these and scale it back up. So we're not going to need that much extra space. This used to be like a game when I was doing just characters, and it got to be very monotonous, is that how you say it? I would just be like playing Tetris with the UVs all day to see how good I could get them. But not today, not tonight. Let's see, let me shrink down part of this. And again, we do not want that overlaying. So that looks okay for now. I might change it later, but you don't want to watch me do this for an hour. So I'm going to X, collapse 2. Okay, I pressed some hotkeys that the recorder did not like. I hope I didn't lose that video. So I started another one. Alright, so I have this selected. I'm not going to save the file. I'm not going to hit any hotkeys. I'm going to go to, I suggest you do save your file. So I'm going to have this selected. Oh, and this is what happens when you hit Go Z with a text. So I have this shader with this texture on it. So if I hit Go Z, it's going to tell me no. It's going to give you a warning. So when that happens, don't get scared. Just put a blank material on it, or you can not do that. Break the connection to the texture. So now if I hit Go Z, it should let it go through. I'm going to hit Edit in ZBrush. Alright, so there we are. So the very first thing we're going to do is make sure DVs are laid out and ZBrush accepts it, because sometimes it does not. So I'm going to say new from Polypaint. There. No, you'll see right away if the UVs get all screwy. I'm like pointing my finger at it to show you. Oh, yeah, that's going to work. Okay, so you'll notice the pixels will be strewn across the board. Like there was like an aneurysm in there or something. Pixel aneurysm. So they look good. So we want to get this onto our high poly model. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, so this is our high poly model with the subdivisions. I'm going to hit Shift D to go to subdivision 1. Now I'm going to go back and hit solo. So I'm going to go to the UV master, and this should work sometimes. Screwy things happen, but we'll cross our fingers. I'm going to hit copy UVs. So they're copied. Again, this is the object we just imported from 3ds Max that we laid out. So I'm going to go back to low poly on subdivision level 1. We click copy. Now I'm going to hit paste UVs. So we're going to go to texture map, new from Polypaint. Boom, there we go. So it worked. So we want to save that texture right away. So I'm going to hit D. I'm going to save this file. Save as Fox Cozy Cup 29. UV'd. We're going to clone the texture. I'm actually going to make a 4K map. We're probably going to use a 2K, but I'm just going to make it 4K. I don't know if the printers looks up 4K maps online. We'll find out. Alright, so I'm going to go back to texture map. So we have UV map set to 4K. So I'm going to hit create new from Polypaint. By default it's 2K, now it's 4K. Clone texture, texture, flip, export, and yeah, he is a diddle bug. Alright, let's see. Images. I did not organize this properly right away. So I'm going to have to do some, after I close all the applications, I'll have to rearrange the folders. So Fox, new folder, go to textures. I'll keep this as a PSD. I'm going to make a layers folder in the textures folder. And let's see, diddlebugs, Fox, texture, ZBrush, export. Because why not make the name as long as possible? Save. I would to save the material index as a separate channel. Yes, thank you. So there we go. So that is how you do a quick sculpt and get it as quickly as I know. Retopologize, merge, and UV it on a map. So I'm gonna stop the recording, and I guess this will be part 1 of 3D printing. So if you're watching, thanks, and hope I gave you good advice. Bye.